John Quincy Adams, born July 11, 1767, was destined for history. The son of America's second president, he grew up in the shadow of revolution and liberty. As a young boy, he witnessed the birth of a nation firsthand, watching the Battle of Bunker Hill and even traveling with his father on diplomatic missions. By his teens, Adams was already serving as his father's assistant in Europe, meeting world leaders and studying international politics. His early exposure to global affairs shaped a mind built for diplomacy and debate, traits that would define his entire life. Adams studied at Harvard, graduating with honors, and quickly built a reputation as one of the most brilliant thinkers of his generation. His first major success came as a U.S. diplomat in the Netherlands and Russia, where he worked tirelessly to strengthen America's international standing. In 1814, Adams helped negotiate the Treaty of Ghent, ending the War of 1812 and restoring peace between the U.S. and Great Britain. That triumph made him one of the most respected diplomats in American history, paving the way for his rise to Secretary of State. Under President James Monroe, Adams became the architect of the Monroe Doctrine, a bold policy warning Europe to stay out of the Americas. The doctrine defined U.S. foreign policy for generations, securing Adams' legacy as a master statesman long before he reached the presidency. In 1824, Adams ran for president in one of the most controversial elections ever. No candidate won a majority, not even Andrew Jackson. The decision went to the House of Representatives, which chose Adams. Jackson's supporters called it a corrupt bargain, claiming a rigged deal. Though Adams denied any wrongdoing, the accusation haunted his presidency and divided the nation's politics. As president, Adams envisioned a country connected by roads, canals, and scientific progress, a vision far ahead of his time. But Congress blocked many of his initiatives, and his term was marked by political gridlock and fierce opposition. In 1828, Andrew Jackson defeated him in a bitter rematch. Yet Adams refused to retire quietly. His greatest chapter was still to come. He returned to Washington as a congressman, becoming the only president in history to serve in the House after leaving office. There, Adams found his true voice, fighting against slavery, injustice, and corruption with unmatched passion. Known as Old Man Eloquent, he spoke fearlessly for human rights and against the expansion of slavery, decades before the Civil War. He even defended enslaved Africans in the Amistad case, arguing before the Supreme Court that all men have a right to freedom. His defense succeeded, and the captives won their freedom, one of the proudest moments of his career. John Quincy Adams worked tirelessly until his final day. On February 21, 1848, he collapsed on the floor of Congress and died 2 days later. His last words, "This is the last of earth, I am content." A fitting farewell for a man who lived by principle, not politics. Adams' legacy endures as a visionary leader, fierce abolitionist, and guardian of liberty. More than a president, John Quincy Adams was a man who believed that truth and justice would always stand taller than power. If you found this information valuable, please go ahead and subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out the rest of the other interesting tales of the presidents.